Welcome back to Profiles in Caring. We've had the opportunity to visit classrooms and see very young deaf students learning now from deaf teachers. It is a huge step forward. Now an opportunity to visit the university and see the next graduating class in about a month from now of deaf Kenyans who will end up in schools just like this.
We make an international deaf connection by sending deaf ed professionals from the U.S. to work with the local deaf community, inspire deaf youth. Then we pay for deaf people who make it through their system to go to teachers college in their own country. We do that by providing college scholarships and sign language interpreters. Because there aren't deaf schools or access to education, we provide equal access to education by a deaf person receiving a sign language interpreter for their college. They get a degree, and then we work with the government to say, hey, you have a deaf person in your country that has a college degree. You should hire them to become a teacher.
So welcome to the Machakos Teachers College, home to many Kenyans who wish to have a career in education. But until recently, and until the involvement of Global Deaf Connection, this college only prepared hearing teachers for those careers. Not so anymore. In many classes at Machakos, you will see this: an interpreter sitting at the front of the class, signing lessons for deaf and hard of hearing kids. George was born hearing, but again, lost that hearing to disease.
I'm asking GDC to continue helping us as the deaf, not because life with hearing people is very hard. When people see us deaf, they ignore us. They are not ready to help us as deaf people. So truly, we suffer more.
We hired 2 Kenyan Sign Language interpreters to work at the college full-time and sponsored 8 deaf Kenyans to go to college. This has never been done before in most of Africa, having full-time sign language interpreters at a teacher's college. We didn't even know if it would work. But you know what? 2 years later, all 8 deaf Kenyans passed the national exam and became teachers. And that's when GDC started taking off.
We have a cycle called the cycle of success. That cycle is deaf adults will be teaching deaf children, and those deaf children will later go to college and become deaf teachers themselves.
Life in Kenya improves. The deaf education also improves. I know deaf education is not easy. Most teachers in deaf schools are hearing and they don't know sign language, and they also don't have good hearts to help the deaf. So I want to improve the lives of those deaf. That ever the deaf will work hard and make sure that deaf have a good education in future.
These students, all sponsored by Global Deaf Connection, will soon enter what is a developing world in their developing country, the working world. And not only that, the working world of teaching Kenya's young deaf students in their own language, providing hope and belief that they can look to a brighter and positively changing future for them in a country that once offered no hope of employment or any type of socio-economic advancement for those who cannot hear. Once cut off from society simply because they cannot speak, today, with the help of groups like Global Deaf Connection, every single student in Kenya's 41 schools for the deaf have opportunity at arm's length, waiting for each to grab and hold.
The teacher, she's signing this whole lesson in Kenyan Sign Language, and she's explaining about coffee import-export, complicated, things for a 6th grade class, all in Kenyan Sign Language, voice off, just signing away. And I thought, man, these kids are not responding. And then she said, okay, time to review. Who can tell me? And she starts asking, and these kids are out of their chair. They start, answering away, and they're wandering away. And then she said, okay, well, come on up. And she pulls the kid up to the chalkboard and says, signs, okay, go ahead and put it on the board. And the child gets stuck and turns to the teacher, and she said, ask the class. Ask the class. And then the other classmates are responding, and now these deaf students are helping these other deaf students. It was just amazing. And that's the Global Deaf Connection. It's becoming sustainable itself. And I'm sitting in the back of the classroom taking pictures and just thinking, this is going to be amazing.
Don't you just love how the dream of one can lead to a future for so many? Thank you, Kevin, for having the ambition to make this happen. If you'd like to learn more about the Global Deaf Connection, log on to our website, profilesandcaring.org.